Hello, Be Beautiful. Welcome back to another episode of It's Time to Be You, the podcast that helps people pleasers take control and finally put themselves first. I'm your host, Ariel Vaughn, a recovering people pleaser and certified life coach on a mission to help you drop the shoulds, embrace who you are, and live life on your terms. I love when I get to see people grow into their dreams, and especially when it's someone you've known for a long time. Today, I'm joined by Kay Ford, a voice actress now living in Canada, but we go way back. I've known her since elementary school when we were insecure and shy girls playing basketball. And I think if you asked either one of us back then if we would be recording a podcast together about the work that we do, we would have laughed in your face. I knew Kay had been doing some pretty cool stuff recently, but I didn't know the depth of her journey until this conversation. Today, Kay shares her journey of making decisions based on other people's opinions to getting divorced, moving to China, and following her dreams to be a voice actress. We talk about rebuilding self-confidence, trusting ourselves again, navigating anxiety, and making decisions for ourselves. So if you've been thinking about taking a leap of faith to go after your dreams and start trusting yourself again and finding your voice, this one's for you. Enjoy. Well, Kay, thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast. I'm really excited to have you because we go way back. We used to play basketball like in elementary school, I think is when we started. So yeah,
And that went through high school.
Yeah.
Till I injured my knee. Yeah. So yeah.
It's like we've known each other for a long time and our lives have changed a lot since then. So I would love to start off with just tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, who are you? What are you up to these days?
Yeah. Despite being American, I currently live in Canada. I live in Hinton, Alberta. And I've been a mom for the past couple of years. I have a 2 and a 4-year-old and have been working as a voice actress for the past year.
That's awesome.
A whole lot more to tell.
Yeah, I was like, we're gonna dive into all of that. So, like, curious, voice acting, did you always want to do that, or where did that come from?
Yeah, I've always been a singer. So, I grew up with that. And I think there could be definitely some negatives associated with performing and things and people being very competitive. And I struggled with that a lot. I was always very nervous and very self-critical. And I think I loved the idea of being behind the mic because I could just let go and I didn't have to worry about people seeing me and I could just be as goofy or as over the top as I wanted to be. And I started attending video game or just like fan conventions in general. And I was always super fascinated by the voice actors. Like I'd go to their panels and I was very fortunate that I got to meet Matt Mercer actually way before he became quite a famous voice actor at this point. Like he's like, I would never get near him now.
Yeah.
But, this was kind of back when he was just doing cons and wasn't quite as big a name as he is now. And he always had such thought-provoking answers to everything. Like people always ask the same questions, how do you get into it? What do you recommend? And he would always give a genuine answer where some of the other voice actors I would sometimes see I don't blame them that you get tired of that same question, right? So they would start to give joke answers or they wouldn't really be all that helpful. And Matt was wonderfully always very aware of his answers and how it might help someone. And listening to him really, started up my interest. And it really kind of made me think maybe it was something I could do. So.
Yeah. And like at that time I guess, do you remember if there was like something specific that he said or shared where you're kind of like, maybe this is for me, maybe I should give it a shot?
I remember asking about, I was asking about like goofy noises, right? It was like, oh, the sounds you have to make during battle. And he was like, the other guys were like, oh yeah, they're making jokes. And Matt leaned forward and was like, hey, those are called efforts. And if you have a good director, they'll be standing in the booth telling you these crazy things like, hey, somebody runs over the back of your heels with a razor blade grocery cart, or like these different things for you to imagine and really think about.
Yeah.
And that was just really fun. It was just really cool. He just always gave like really interesting, and he clearly loved what he does,
Yeah.
And it was cool to see that, kind of creativeness that he got to do with other people. I also had the fortune of meeting Ellen McLean, who was the voice of GLaDOS in Portal.
Oh, okay.
And someone asked her, how do you get into this? And people started to make their jokes again. And she really in the panel, because we had several voice actors up there on the panel, she leaned forward and she was like, you have to love it. You have to love it enough that you sometimes don't get paid for it. You have to love it enough that you will put work into it without being asked. You have to do whatever it takes to make this work because it's very competitive and it's very difficult. And that was just a really, because when I first started, I was taking whatever I would get. I didn't care if it was a volunteer thing or if I was paid $5 or whatever. I didn't care.
Yeah.
And just, I've only been in this for a year, so I've been fortunate that it kind of started to snowball. But yeah, I mean, I think you just have to start with the little things. And when she said that, that was very profound for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like anything, like things are just competitive. We're all doing stuff and like, with the internet, like it just makes things so
Yeah.
much like more competitive and accessible and people can learn different traits and skills and stuff. So I
Mm.
think with anything, it's like you really have to love it and want to work for it and have also like a little bit of a belief like I can do this, because I
Yes.
imagine you probably get like discouraged and stuff
There
sometimes.
is so much rejection, and I don't think
Yeah.
people really understand the scale. And to break it down,
Yeah.
at a beginner level, can expect to probably get a job. It's considered a good booking ratio if you get one job in every 3 to 500 auditions. That's considered a standard. You're doing good. Keep it going.
Oh, wow.
At where like Matt Mercer is now, probably 1 in 100.
Wow.
So I don't care what level you're at, you are going to get rejected left, right, and center. And
Yeah.
it is hard and it's really difficult. And you have to look for small milestones like, okay, well, at least this person shortlisted me, or at least I got, like you have to look for those small intervals.
Yeah.
And sometimes it has to come from yourself. Sometimes it has to be like, well, I wasn't as nervous for that one, or I felt good about that. Like, you have to not
Yeah.
always rely on the external validation. So.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like what keeps you going and how do you face so much rejection?
For me personally, I have just been very fortunate. I mean, I'm largely an untrained actress,
Hmm.
but as far as vocally, I've been trained since I was little to sing.
Yeah.
And then teaching is very much performative. I volunteered at summer camps that were like live action role play camps. So we were always on stage and performing, and they always asked me to be the MC at the events. And so I've gotten pretty used to how to use my voice, how to be performative.
Hmm.
I worked in a library on a children's floor reading books at one point, and you learn to get the kids into it. But I've been fortunate that I kind of let all of those experiences culminate into what I have now. I started working as a makeup artist when I was living in a small town because it was really needed. A lot of people
Yeah.
were asking. And when we moved here to Hinton,
Mhm.
we considered very seriously putting a makeup studio in the house for me,
Oh.
just so I didn't have to rent a space or. And I really had to like sit with that and be like,
Hmm.
if I'm gonna invest money in a dream, why
Hmm.
am I going for dream number like 3?
Yeah.
Why am I not trying for dream number 1 first?
Yeah.
So I dusted off an old microphone and created a corner in the top part of my house that I could record in, and overnight got shortlisted for a role.
Wow.
Um, which, nothing really happened, but by 2 weeks, I was booked for my first gig.
That's
And
amazing.
then, yeah, within the first couple months, I had my first audiobook, and then I was doing video games, and I've done a few commercials, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah.
So I was pretty fortunate that I started to see success pretty quickly, but not everybody does.
Yeah.
And I think had I tried to do this earlier in my life, I don't know if I would have had the discipline or the self-confidence or, it was this is when it was meant to happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think timing plays a big part into things, but also, yes, you're not formally trained in this, but you've had a lot of experiences that have really helped you to like prepare for this role. And I think that's also something to like, not diminish of you weren't even though it, like took a little bit of time. It's not like you were like, oh, I just picked up a microphone and they loved me and
yeah.
it's working out. Like you've put a lot of work into things. And I love
Mhm.
when you can kind of like look back at your life and see, oh, because I did this, it kind of helped me prepare for this. And, all those
Yeah,
little pieces connect the dots to where you are.
for
And
sure. I mean, it's always been a similar thing because people will be like, how does teaching and makeup and like all these crazy things you've done in your life equal voice acting. And you're like, actually, if you follow the thread, it's actually all it's pretty easy to understand.
Yeah.
So, and I was fortunate this year, I got nominated for a very large award in our industry, a Society of Voice Arts Award for outstanding animation or gaming demo.
That's so
And
exciting. Congratulations.
uh, thank you. I was floored. Like I mean, you submit hoping, but
Yeah.
like I didn't really expect it. And
Yeah.
then when I went, like I think, some people who went with me were disappointed I didn't win, but I was like, I didn't think I'd be here. So I didn't really expect to win. I'm just excited to be in the room.
Yeah.
Not that I had as much chance as anyone. Yeah, there were five of us nominated. I
Yeah.
figured I had a 20% chance, like everybody else. So
Yeah.
yeah, my plaque is right there. I just got that. So it came
Very
in the mail.
exciting.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You
Yeah.
mentioned about just like the confidence and the discipline that it's taken. Have you
Mhm.
always had confidence, or what has that journey been?
No, 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 no. I'm sure Ariel can remember a very insecure basketball player. Never willing to take a shot. I was always terrified I was always convinced that I couldn't shoot, right? Like I couldn't shoot baskets and I was terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I have struggled with self-confidence my entire life. It's always been very difficult for me. And honestly, I think going to Asia really was the biggest thing. Like I just decided I would trust myself
Yeah.
and took a chance and it worked out really. That's one of the best decisions I ever made in my life was to go and just go, just see what happens.
Yeah.
So
And so say more about that. Like people don't just go to Asia. Like how did that come up? What were you doing there?
I was teaching English
Okay.
and it was kind of a roundabout way that it ended up happening. When
Mhm.
I was in college, I had applied to be part of the Disney College program and I
Oh,
got in, but it was
yeah.
going to mean living for 4 or 5 months in Florida.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I told everybody I was going. I am one of the biggest Disney, just fairy tale fans in general. So I was so excited. I
Yeah.
told everyone, and I really gave in to all of the people not wanting me to go. And I backed out at like the last minute. I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So cut to 2016, and I was freshly divorced and
Mhm.
at my lowest possible self-confidence that you can imagine and
Yeah.
just feeling like the way that I was doing things wasn't working. I
Yeah.
felt like I had done everything the right way
Mm-hmm.
and it still blew up in my face.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm going to do things the way I feel like doing it then.
Yeah.
But there was totally a self-doubt of like, is China going to be another Disney college program? Am I going to tell everyone? I don't think until I stepped onto the plane, I was 100% certain I was really going to do it.
Yeah.
The friend that took me to the airport took me to a bar and bought me a tequila shot. I remember that very clearly.
Like whatever's gonna
Yeah.
get you on this plane, it's gonna
Yes.
happen.
And my sister was very supportive. The whole time I was getting on the plane, she kept sending me stuff and being like, I remember she sent me something that said achievement unlocked, defied gravity. And she was really like, no, you need to Phoenix this whole thing. You got to rise from the ashes. And
Yes.
I just was determined. I like to joke that I was like 60% certain I was going to be fine.
Yeah. I mean,
40% chance I
those are
was going
some
to
good
be
odds.
yeah, 40% chance I was going to be sold on the black market. um, I answered a Craigslist ad and went on a plane and met someone who promised they would be on the other end of the world. And it worked out.
Right. That is a huge leap of faith. Like I've done a lot of things from a Craigslist ad that have worked out totally great. Not
Yeah.
involved going into another country though. So.
I mean, that is like the short version of it. She put the ads on Craigslist and then I interviewed with several schools. I did many interviews. I talked to many people at the schools. Like I didn't just leap on a plane because of a Craigslist ad, but there were times that I was like, wow. Like my first week there, my friend that had chatted with me ahead was really showing me the city and taking me around. And we got in one of those like giant hamster ball things.
Oh
We were
yeah.
and we went out on a lake.
That is so
And I
fun.
was like sitting there and I was like, if you had told me a year ago that I would be sitting in a bubble on a lake in China, I would be like, you are crazy.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Did you ever think that you were going to like live somewhere else or take that leap to go to China for this? Or what did
Honestly,
your original career path look like?
it would have been staying in Charlottesville. It would have been doing the things nearby and never really going anywhere.
Yeah.
Going to VCU was my first real branch out of Charlottesville, and I had no interest. I did not want to do it. I did it because I felt like I should, because all my other friends were going off to four-year schools, and I felt like I needed to, or I had somehow failed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what would have been a smarter decision would have been to go to Piedmont or something for 2 years and then moved on from there. But honestly, like, I don't know. I mean, regret is a stupid and pointless emotion. So it can't do anything for you.
Right.
So I definitely don't regret it.
Yeah.
I think everything led me to here and I wouldn't change anything. But yeah, I was terrified to go do anything else. So I had always fantasized about each of my grandparents owned like relatives had passed and left them a home that they were renting. And I was always
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'll just live in one of those houses and never leave. And
Yeah.
I would be a teacher in Charlottesville somewhere if I had followed the path that I had intended, I think.
I want to go back to when you were thinking about Florida and some people got into your head. What was their reasoning or like what stopped you from really pursuing that?
The idea of not seeing me every single day for 4 months, 4 to 5 months
Mhm.
was like unacceptable for certain people. They
Yeah.
just really were like, oh my God. And then the fact that I wouldn't be protected, I was a woman going alone. How were they going to leave me there? Like it was very dramatic. Like
Yeah.
it's the Disney college program. They have a lot of stuff in place.
Right.
I was going to be living in a dorm with people checking in on me and taking classes, and it was not going to China was far more of a risk.
Right. Yeah.
I think that was always just such a huge regret. So, once I went through my divorce, my ex at the time of the Disney college program and was one of the naysayers that I ended up giving into. And
Mhm.
I think I was just like, forget it. I'm going. I'm going to do what I feel like doing. So,
Yeah.
and I had never even considered China. Like when I was first looking for places to go, I was looking at other places and then I
Mhm.
happened to find these ads as
Yeah.
well and just was like, why not?
And then what was the commitment for China? Was that like another program or was it come here and see how long you want to stay?
Some are like that. It's more common to see like 6 months to a year.
Mhm.
Some you can find month to month. I signed on for a year in this particular city,
Yeah.
then ended up staying just under 2 years.
Yeah. Awesome.
But I really enjoyed it. And honestly, like for anyone who's considering going abroad, I really think 2 years is like after that first year is when the magic starts to happen. You feel
Yeah.
more comfortable, you've got the lay of the land, and you start to just kind of relax into it more.
Yeah.
Um, as I loved that first year, but the second one was really, like I said, that's where the magic started to happen.
Yeah. And like what kind of magic? Tell us more about that.
I started to understand the language more.
Yeah.
Financially, I recovered from, moving to a whole new place and having to immediately like buy things and get set up. And I had
Yeah.
made friends. I was very used to my job at that point. So I wasn't like super worried that I was going to somehow mess this up. I was actually promoted to manager about 3 months in. We had 9 different campuses and each campus had a foreign manager teacher.
Yeah.
And I was one of the 9 locations.
Yeah.
And, I kind of got used to that. I knew what I was in for because I wasn't just absolutely terrified of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, we started traveling. I went to so many countries while I was there. I mean, I went to Malaysia, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, just like all over. And it was so cool. And
That's
and
amazing.
yeah, I just started trusting like I could travel with these people. I could go other places. I could travel alone. Like,
Yeah.
and just found a whole new sense of confidence that
Yeah.
I did not have before. I
Yeah.
took my first sleeper train. I remember the idea of sleeping on a train terrified me.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what if someone, as a woman, I'm like, what if someone
Right.
like comes in my apartment while I'm
Yeah.
asleep? Like I was terrified.
Yeah.
But it was actually fantastic. 10 out of 10 sleeper trains, guys. You
Yeah.
go to sleep and you wake up and you are there and you get a full bed that you're not cramped in some tiny little like airplane thing. You get a blanket and a bed and a pillow and It was
Nice.
slower, much slower travel, but it was so much more comfortable.
Yeah, I was like, that kind of sounds like relaxing. I'm like,
It was
maybe I'll just go on
wonderful.
a sleeper train and have
Yeah,
a
I
little
didn't I
vacation
didn't
that way.
yeah, I woke up traveling after 10 hours and was fully refreshed and just like, let's go.
Yeah.
I went on to work that day. It was great. Yeah.
That's amazing. And so when you first got there, what went through your mind at first? Were you already feeling like confident and I got this, or were you like, what did I just do?
No, not even a little bit. Like I got there and I didn't speak a word of Chinese. I didn't even
Yeah.
know how to say hello or thank you. Probably should have at least looked that up ahead. I got there and luckily the school that I chose had a lot of stuff in place. It was actually part of what made me choose them because the
Yeah.
other schools were like, yeah, we'll bring you here and we'll teach you Chinese. And this school was like, we have translators on staff. We have over 60 foreign teachers that all speak English. Like, there was more of a system.
Yeah.
They were like, we have an apartment complex that we recommend at the start that's where everybody lives. And then once they're comfortable, if they want, they can look for other apartments. And, it was things like that I just was like, this sounds like it makes more sense.
Yeah.
And for the first 2 weeks that you're there, they would tag team you with another teacher to make sure, because you had to take buses all over the place, and
Right.
they would have that person make sure you got where you were going.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it was terrifying, but I was excited and I enjoyed it. People
Uh,
that travel a lot, expats, it can be quite interesting. There can be a lot of drama and things. So there was a little bit of drama in the group when I first got there of foreign teachers, but it quickly kind of got overcome. But I at first was like, what is happening? So that was a lot. But then honestly, I didn't see anything like that again the whole time I was there. So it was like, of course, like one of my first weeks there is when the biggest drama happens. And then I don't
right.
really see anything again. So
I feel like that's kind of like the
yeah,
test. Let's get the worst out of the way, and if you can
yeah,
survive, then you'll be
Mhm.
fine.
For sure. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then as you're dealing with trying to gain some confidence and doing this new thing, were you worried at all about how you were going to show up, with all these new people and in this new place
For
and kind of,
sure. I mean, I was nervous. I think you always like, is anybody gonna like me? Am I gonna make any friends? Am I gonna be any good at my job? I mean, it's hard enough to teach 2 and 3 year olds, let alone ones that literally do not speak your language. Like, you can talk to them all you want,
yeah.
and they're just like, ha, they don't understand at all. So yeah, I was terrified, but I do remember I got pretty comfortable pretty quickly. I went there in September, and then I ended up flying back to Virginia for Christmas. And the difference when I was on the plane back to China after Christmas
hmm
was just night and day. I was not nearly so terrified, and I just was like, I got this. This is fine.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
awesome.
So that helped a lot. And I went there like determined that I would not date anyone. Like I was like, nope, not here for that. No, thank you. Met my now husband on like day 2, who was also there being like, nope, nope.
That's so
So
funny.
yeah.
Did you all immediately be like, I think we might date, or was it like a friends for a
We had chemistry
while?
right away,
Yeah.
but we both kind of, I viewed it as I planned to be in China for a year.
Mhm.
So he was welcome to take up my time without any commitment or real sense of urgency for a year.
Yeah.
And if we had decided this was truly worth it, then, and I were to stay a second year, now we're looking at a future together.
Right.
So we kind of took the first year in stride. It was
Yeah.
like, if we go home and this was just a traveling fling, that's cool.
Yeah.
We tried to be as calm about it as you could because those circumstances really make everything quite heightened. Like
hmm
we ended up moving in together within about 6 months, but not because we were like, oh, let's live together. But like when you live abroad,
Yeah.
it just makes sense to live with someone you see every day financially.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
you know,
anywhere it kind of makes sense to live with
yeah.
someone sometimes.
So we kind of had to have a conversation of like, yes, we are going to live together, and that does sort of catapult our relationship forward, but
Yeah.
it's not from like I think we're a step closer to getting married. It's more of a like a practicality thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like this makes sense.
yeah. Yeah. And then obviously I went on to do a second year, and then he followed me, and then I followed him, and now here we are with two little ones running overhead. So, but
And did you go from China to Canada? And
no,
also
I
to me?
came back to Virginia for about
Gotcha.
2 years. Yeah, and then during COVID, actually, we decided to go up to Canada because my husband was offered a very good job, which he's still working to this day. So it ended up being a good decision. So,
Nice. Y'all have made a lot of good decisions together.
I mean, kind of out of fate.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then, so I'm curious, since you had some like naysayers or like people who had a lot of opinions when you were looking at going to Florida, did they
Mhm.
have the same opinions with you going to China? And how was that
Absolutely.
received?
Yeah, it was absolutely the same people saying no. My mother tried to tell me that I wasn't going to go. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm 27.
Yeah.
Sorry. Uh,
No, no stopping me.
Despite my grandmother and I always having a very good relationship, I think you've met Nana or had met Nana a few times.
Yeah.
She's quite outspoken, and she was determined that I would be too outspoken and I would get thrown in jail if I went to China and blah, 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 blah. And
Mhm.
I, for the first time in my life, put my foot down and was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
This is happening. You can get on board or you can look the other way, but this is happening. And she told me ever since that she was very proud of me for being like, look, like I'm
Yeah.
done.
I love
Yeah, I mean,
that.
and I even had some friends that just out of concern, because I didn't even like 2 hour road trips. They were like, you're gonna go to China. Like,
It's like, you've
yeah.
got to get there.
Yeah, yeah. Like I had some friends that just out of concern were like,
Yeah.
you gonna go to China. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, but it worked out.
Yeah.
It was a leap of faith that I don't even know if it's for everyone, but it was the right decision for me. So,
Yeah. And I think so often when we make big decisions like that, and especially when it involves moving away or doing something that someone else in your family or in your like friend group hasn't done before, because it's just so out of the
mhm.
norm, they might tell you no or have concerns, but it's because they care about you. It's not because they like don't really believe that you can do it. It's just that they
Yeah.
really want to protect you. Like, you're here, you're
Hmm.
safe. It's scary to do that, and you'll be on your own and you won't know anyone. And so it's a
Yeah.
lot of love and protection, but I really like that once you made that decision, like, no, I'm gonna do
Hmm.
this, that they came around and supported you. And then it sounds like we're even proud of you. Like, you actually want to do
Yeah.
this and you're sticking up for it.
I mean, my grandmother was very like, that was the best decision you ever made. Like she fully conceded to it once I got back. She was like, yeah, it's what you should have done for sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like we also take for granted the age that we live in. I mean, I'm in Canada and you
Yeah.
are in Virginia right now, and
Yeah.
we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
Uh, you can be so much more connected now than you could before. And
Yeah,
honestly, you can still have a very close relationship with someone
for
from a
sure.
very far distance away.
Yeah.
Arguably, I mean, you hear about people living next door to each other and they barely see each other because they don't make the time. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, we live near each other now.
Yeah. It's like we'll
And they
see each
don't
other and like, no.
yeah, and they don't actually make the effort. And I probably talk to my parents more than I would if I lived down the street because we video
Mhm.
call often so that my
Yeah.
kids can see them.
Yeah.
So,
And I think we
you
are
know,
more intentional when people are further away because it's like,
mhm,
yeah, like if they're down the street, then it's like, I'll see them eventually. I can catch up with them
yeah.
sometime and we don't really think about it. But when it's like when they're far away, it's like, oh, I need to make time for them because I don't know when I'm going to see
Hmm.
them.
Yeah, I mean, my parents met us in LA when we went there for the award ceremony,
Oh,
and
nice.
my kids got to spend time with them, and they always come in the summer to spend time with us for 2 weeks, and we really set aside time to be around each other,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, arguably those intense times that you're together, it's very good quality over quantity.
For
Like
sure.
they're rocking them to sleep, they're helping them. We're going on these big adventures together, like which is
Yeah.
not the same thing as them being checked out at the dinner table because we see each other every Sunday. Like,
Right. Yeah.
not saying that they would be, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally. And then I'm curious because a lot of people listening to this podcast, we're people pleasers and we want to do everything
Mhm.
like that we should do and we don't want to disappoint anyone. What advice would you give to someone who's like, I want to do something, but I know my family is gonna maybe be disappointed or have some opinions or yeah, like what advice would you give to them?
People are going to be disappointed no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And really, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because you cannot make everyone happy. And
Mm-hmm.
that sounds so terrifying, but like your opinion of yourself, your goals for yourself, they matter a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be one of your own best friends. And if you can't be, then you need to work on that because I needed to stop putting what people thought of me over what I thought of myself,
Yeah.
basically. And that was really a hard lesson to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I went through my divorce, I found myself questioning everything. I was like,
Yeah.
how did I get here? Like, I thought I was being careful. I thought I was doing everything the way I was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And I doubted myself so much. And
Yeah.
being protective and helpful, my family and friends really rallied around me in a very touching way. But
Yeah.
as I started to heal and wanted to start trying new things, they didn't loosen up.
Mm.
They wanted to grab on harder. And I
Yeah.
was like, no, like, that's okay. And that was a huge part of I mean, it was quite a dramatic response, but like going somewhere else was a big part of it. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
I need to trust myself
Yes.
because I didn't. And I really wanted to work on that.
Yeah.
So traveling alone is fascinating. You do
Yeah.
not have to ask someone, are you hungry? What do you feel like it? Should we go here? Should we go? Like, you just do what you want.
Yeah.
And that is not something I had ever done. Like,
Yeah. That's such a
yeah.
good point. I mean, I went through a divorce too, as you know, and it's just, I totally understand that, like, afterwards, you're just like, how did I get here? I don't trust myself. Like, I thought things were one way, and then I'm kind of like questioning everything. So I totally get the trusting yourself. And then also that, like, do I even like this? Did I ever like this? And learning
Yeah.
what you like. And so yeah, when you're traveling alone or like doing more experience on on your own, you start learning of like, oh, I actually do enjoy this, and I don't have to take anyone else's opinion into consideration as far as just
Yeah.
like if I want to eat here
Yeah.
tonight, I'm gonna eat here tonight, and I'm gonna trust my decision rather than being like, I think I want it, but maybe not.
Yeah. I remember so clearly this little guy right here, this little golden giraffe, these
Yeah.
unicorn, his we named him Pellinor. And in my first marriage, there was a massive fight over Pellinor. I wanted to buy him, and
Hmm.
there was this huge, like, how dare you bring something so ugly into my home? How could you
Yeah.
not ask me first?
Mm.
And by the way, this was going in my library,
Yeah.
like my personal, not like in like a public space.
Right.
But the
It's
idea
like
that
it
I would
makes
buy
me
this
happy.
statue. I know. I was like, it's my yoga library thing. Like, why do you even care?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the first things I did when I started my divorce was I went and bought Pellinor, and he has been with me ever since. And,
Yeah. That's
and I keep
awesome.
him as a reminder of do what you want. Yeah. I mean, you start to just question everything.
Mhm. I think we all
And
have this thing that like we did post divorce because like I remember like there was this song that my ex-husband didn't like, and the first time I heard it I was just
yeah.
blasting it.
Yeah,
I was like,
absolutely.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
I'm gonna play it.
Like, what did he hate? I'm gonna go and do that as much as I want. I'm gonna cook as much garlic and blast Taylor Swift and like, you know, watch as many Disney movies as I want on repeat. Yeah.
Totally. I do feel like after going through a divorce or any sort of major life change, like you said, kind of being that phoenix growing through the ashes, what else has changed in your life, or what other things have really empowered you to get you where you are right now?
It has been very hard to trust myself. That has been a big thing. Recently, I was messaged by a big acting studio in LA that's called Baron Brown Studios, and they were like, "Hey, any interest in learning to act, more in depth?"
Yeah.
So I decided I would give that a shot, but that was like, so I'm still in it. I'm only in the first 9 weeks of my program there, but it is hard. And the
Yeah.
thing is that this style that they use is called the Meisner technique. He
Okay.
was one of the group that made different styles of acting. Like another technique that came out of this group was the method acting. And, there's different ways. Um, but this guy is meant to break you down and rebuild you. And they do
You're
it
like, "Oh,
from
how fun."
they preach and preach. Yeah, they preach and preach unconditional love, but they don't play around. Like the feedback is harsh.
Yeah.
And it is, but it's a good thing.
Mhm.
And I'm finding in voice acting, in singing, in regular acting, the times that people stop and really are like, that was great, are when I'm just being me.
I love that.
It's great, but I want to shake myself sometimes. I'm like, why do I still hide who I am? Like, why is it so hard to just let my guard down and be myself? You think that'd be the easiest way to do any of this,
Right? Yeah.
but I find myself still just being so guarded because I'm afraid of people being disappointed or something. And this whole experience, because I'm doing my acting class and I'll be doing that for probably the next 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm doing a dialect coach, and then I'm doing coaching with the voice acting coach.
Yeah.
And it is very vulnerable
Hmm.
and terrifying, but also really important. I think as a woman, I've always been told that I'm really emotional, I'm very dramatic, I'm difficult. And in this Meisner technique, they're like, we love that.
Yeah.
We got more of that. And so I'm like, it's cool. Like
Yeah.
that's okay. Like, so it's a new lens of learning. You don't have to be afraid of your emotions. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
And yeah, I love that it's like these things that sometimes we hide because we've been told that it might be too much or it's not for everyone. But then you get around the right people or into the right field. And then it's just, yeah, we want that. We need that. Like,
yeah,
be yourself and keep it up.
yeah,
Um, and then I'm also
yeah,
curious of, because like for me, I have like a lot of like perfectionist tendencies. So it's like I never wanted to make a mistake. And so with all of the coaching that you're doing and in these programs, you said you get some real feedback. I feel like that would be hard. 'Cause it's like, oh, don't call me out. But
yeah.
then it helps you, right?
It does. None of it is done from a place of cruelty, and I
Yeah.
think that that can be very hard because I think we're used to anything given to us in a harsh way is meant to be mean. It's meant to tear you down. It's meant to
Hmm.
make you insecure. And it's not. And that is a whole new lens and a whole new way of looking at things. Is like, I do find I can be very emotional because you come out of your scene and immediately into criticism, and they tell you thick skin when you're not acting, thinnest possible skin when you are. So you have
Oh,
to switch very quickly.
yeah.
And for me, who's extremely empathetic and very more social, emotional, intelligent in that way,
Yeah.
I have to write down the feedback and process it later because I find
Mm,
I'm too raw in that
yeah.
exact moment. Because I want to hear it and I want to know the feedback, but I'm just very emotional right then. So I
Right.
write it down and then I think about it in a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
really like that of writing it down so that you can really process it. Have you taken that into other areas of your life?
Yeah, anytime you get feedback, like when I was a teacher, I really struggled with parents that if you're giving them advice on something, depending on the parent, of course, but sometimes they would take it as like a personal attack. And
Right.
it's like, it isn't. It really isn't. So I've tried to take that into my experience being a parent. If a
Yeah.
teacher tells you, like, hey, they're kind of behind here, or hey, they're struggling with this, it's not because you did something wrong. Like, they're not there to hurt you. And I try to keep that in my mind of where I was the one giving that feedback, and now
Yeah.
I'm the one getting it. And, a lot of areas of your life, because yeah, you want to be perfect, right? And we're never going to be. So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then thinking of like feedback, and of course, since we've known each other for so long, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh my God. If I didn't punch my younger self in the face, um,
It's like shake your younger self, like you're fine.
yes. Oh my God, yes. Get it together.
Hmm.
Trust yourself more.
Hmm.
I have a pretty severe anxiety disorder, and a lot of that I started realizing like that was my issue, right? Like
Hmm.
I hope I'm at the point now where I hope people understand, but I don't want them to accommodate. And
Yeah.
before, I thought understanding meant accommodating.
Yeah.
And I'm completely different with that now. And I wish I had been more aware of that when I was younger. Because when I went through my divorce, I realized it would be very easy to put things onto my new husband. Like it would
Hmm.
be easy to be like, I was cheated on in my previous marriage. And it would be easy to be like, I need to see your phone, or you need to tell me everything you're doing, or you have to
Mm.
understand where I'm coming from. And
Yeah.
he was never even married. He didn't do anything.
Right.
It's not his fault. It's not his responsibility. And I can't put what my first husband did onto him
Yeah.
because I feel like he needs to somehow accommodate me. Like,
Right.
that's not fair.
Yeah.
And I've done everything in my power. And it's a daily battle. It's not
Mhm.
like something I just suddenly don't do.
Yeah.
But there's things that I didn't even realize because when we bought our first house was right when everything fell apart in my first marriage. And I didn't
Mhm.
realize that that was going to be triggering because when we bought a house, I was also like, oh God, like, this is when it
Right. Yeah.
starts.
Like it's happening
Um,
again.
sub- Subconsciously.
Yeah.
And that was a me problem. That wasn't a
Mhm.
him problem. He didn't do anything. So
Yeah.
I really had to learn to be like, no, this is me. So you have to be self-aware of it and push through it. And it is understandable, but
Mhm.
it's not excusable. And there's a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. That's very well put. And I'm curious, is there anything that you do to kind of help remind yourself in those moments that might be a little triggering if that's not
Mm.
him or like not what's actually happening
We
on
have very
yourself?
open conversations because
Yeah.
I'm very like, I process out loud
Yeah.
and my husband does not. My husband he goes internal and he has to
Mhm.
think and then he has to come back.
Yeah.
And I associate that pulling away with pulling away from me.
Hmm.
So we just have to learn to really openly communicate. I have to tell him, I just need reassurance from you right now because I feel insecure because you're pulling away. And
Yeah.
he will tell me like I'm not pulling away because of you, but I need some space to figure this out, but I still love you. Or me, I word vomit. Oh my gosh, I will talk it out until we figured it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's just no answer. You're not
Right.
gonna figure it out in one conversation. So yeah, he'll be like, look, you know, I know that you want validation. I do still love you, but I don't have a solution right now. We've had to have very open conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not always going to have the answer.
Communication is just so key. So that's good that you all are
Hmm.
able to talk about it and also understand how you all operate because that can be
Hmm.
huge when you have different ways of communicating or when something
Yeah.
happens, the fact that you need to verbally
Yeah.
talk it out and he shuts down. And yeah, it's like it can be challenging, but understanding each other's needs and what's going on and having that open communication is a really valuable
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, we had a pretty big life change happen recently, and we decided we would go to couples counseling just to talk about it. And
Yeah.
people kept being like, oh, what happened? Are you guys okay? And I was like, this is preemptive. This
Yeah.
is to keep things from being a problem. There is
Right.
no problem. We are
Yeah.
doing that. It's a maintenance thing. It's not a like if you're going to therapy when there's a problem, you've waited too long.
Right.
So, because I was like, this is going to change how we operate and how we do things. And I want to make sure we're not going to start having issues because you had one expectation and I had another of how this was going to go.
Right.
And I think that can be so much of, my first husband was a high school sweetheart. And I think
Hmm.
such a huge issue of that is you don't see each other grow.
Hmm.
With your high school sweetheart, I think you picture your future together and you just expect that that's the way they're going to be. And that's not
Yeah.
always the case.
Right. Yeah. It's like you're like, well, we met like this, and this is how we're gonna
Yeah.
be because we don't realize how much growth we're gonna do or need to do and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, like, thank you for being so open and sharing about going to couples counseling, like, before it's a problem, because,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we're getting more open about like mental health and therapy,
Mm-hmm.
but also working together as couples of like this is something we need to work on and,
Mm-hmm.
learn these tools and stuff because
Mm-hmm.
we weren't really given a roadmap of how to do life. So
Yeah.
doing these
And I
things
mean,
together can be helpful.
yeah, it really helps preemptively, especially if he's an introvert, I'm an extrovert. We try to communicate as much as we can, but you don't always realize maybe you're not communicating in a way that is resonating with this other person. Our therapist was very used to couples counseling and would give us exercises or he would pick apart the sentences to be like, so are you processing that he's saying this? Or are you processing that she's saying this?
Yeah.
And there were a couple of things that it was like, oh, I didn't realize that's what he meant by that.
Right.
He might have said that to me 20 times and I thought I understood and I didn't.
Yeah.
And it hadn't led to a problem yet, but it
Yeah.
might have.
Right. Yeah. It's
So,
like if you keep
you know,
having that same conversation, it's like, why don't you
yeah.
understand?
Yeah. I mean, if from my perspective, we have a great, extremely healthy marriage, but there's only one way it stays that way.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm
yeah.
so glad that you have had this journey for your life where you started to really say yes to yourself and learn to trust yourself and follow the opportunities where they've led you. Is there any other message that you want to share today?
Just don't let fear rule you. Fear
Mm,
is, it's okay. You don't need it to overwhelm you. It's a survival thing, but something I learned, I minored in psychology when I went back to school.
yeah.
And something we learned in stress and its management was that our brain has the same reaction to an imagined fear as it does a genuine threat to our lives.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, what if my kid's birthday party, what if I run out of drinks, can literally be perceived the same as a bear chasing you.
Yeah.
And sometimes that perspective is good to keep in mind.
Right.
And you're
Yeah.
like, that would be terrible. Or let's up the stakes. What if I fail this class? Or what if I
Mhm.
don't get this job? But it's not a threat to your life right now. And our bodies don't understand the difference.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a fight or flight reaction regardless,
Hmm.
or fight, flight, or fawn, excuse me. And I think once I learned that, it was a little easier to kind of keep my body in check. I was
Right.
like, I'm having a panic attack over this because my body thinks I'm going to die from this, and that's
Yeah.
not what's happening.
Yeah. Our
So
bodies and brains are just so, I don't know, sometimes especially with our brain, it's like our brain is so silly. It's like we hold all this like knowledge, but at the same time, it doesn't really understand the difference between what's real and fake. So it's like, I try to
it's
remind
so primitive.
people, yeah, I was like, we always think about like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, what if we thought about like, what's the best that could happen? What could that be
Yeah.
like? Let's live in that state of mind.
Yeah. And what are the odds? Like, what are the odds of that little thing happening? It can. I mean, I understand odds mean nothing to the individual, but you really can't focus on that. And sometimes you're not only hurting yourself, you can be hurting the people around you. If you don't want to hold your kids back or you don't want to hold your partner back,
Yeah,
it has more of an effect than you realize. So
for sure.
I've been
Uh,
humbled and shocked by the number of people that have sent me messages over the years being like, I've loved seeing your journey. And I've been like, who? What do you mean?
right?
No
It's like
one
what I
can
do.
me. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love that because you never know what impact you have on somebody else and you taking chances and living, your life that's authentic and true to you and in alignment, just like give someone else the permission and just the, oh, it's possible to have
Mhm.
this and to do this. And yeah, so I love that.
Yeah.
Where can people like find you or keep up with all your fun voice acting and adventures?
I do have a pretty active Instagram page. So at va.kford is the VA stands for voice actor. So yeah, and just Facebook page is the same. I will be creating a website, but that's in progress right now being built. And I do have an IMDb page. So
Very cool. Well, I'll definitely put all of that in the show notes. And then one last question I always like to ask is how has being yourself led to your success?
like I said, all the feedback I've gotten is that the most genuine performances and the things that people like the most are when it's coming from myself. And to the point that I almost get mad at myself when I can't just be me.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are there still these walls up? And honestly, sometimes I can get mad at myself for not having done this earlier, but I did not have the self-confidence for it.
Yeah.
So this is the growing season for what I'm doing, and it was a much better time and much better place. And I'm very grateful because I feel like, there's been a lot of healing that's been done, and,
Mhm.
accepting who you are is a huge part of that.
Yeah. I love that. Well, I'm glad that you are constantly choosing to be yourself and getting that great feedback. So, thank you so much for being
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
Kay's story is such a powerful reminder that you don't have to have it all figured out before you take the leap. You just have to be willing to trust yourself a little bit more than your fear. So, if something has been on your heart, something that you've been wanting to do or try or go after, but you've been holding back because of what other people might think of or what they might say, or, because it feels uncertain, I hope that this is your reminder that you're allowed to choose yourself. It's gonna feel messy, it's gonna be uncomfortable, and it may not make sense to everyone else, but that doesn't mean it's not for you. And if this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need to hear it too. It's time to trust yourself. It's time to follow your dreams. It's time to be you.